Surprise, surprise, surprise. Good evening. Welcome to Lana's Love Room. Cuddling up on the couch. It's a little chilly here in Florida. I figured I haven't been live on Facebook in a while. So I'm checking. Who's out there? Who wants to hang with me tonight? The energies have been powerful, potent, stirring our stuff, stirring the pot. How are you navigating the waters? How are you feeling? What's coming up for you? Are you conscious of whatever it is within you that is rising to the surface, seeking your attention? Where is there tension in your body? The tension we feel requires and is nudging for your attention. When you acknowledge and you give attention to the tension, you'll also notice, you can breathe into it, the tension will soften, it will dissipate, it will disperse. It'll linger less because what you face can no longer fester. That which you don't face, it festers and it lingers longer. In light of that, what has been stirring up for you? What have these energies brought to your awareness, to your attention? Have they created drama and trauma in your life? Is there a pattern here? Are you noticing whether it is conscious or unconscious? Essentially, it's been what's running the show, with or without your needing to know. This is the funny thing about life. Life can be done to you, or you can be doing life. You could be actively participating, or you could be puppeteered. And who is running the strings? Who is navigating it for you? Is it you consciously doing it? Or are you unconsciously programmed and just running with that? It's an either this or that. That's the funny part about living in duality, polarity. It's either this or that. But when you're in awareness of the game, the programming, the running of the show, you can actually sit in the middle, observe and know when to proceed and go, what actions to take to discern what is true for you and what is just something you've been going through the motions, programmed to do. When you hear that little voice in your head, is it yours? Or is it somebody else's? From the moment we're born, we're told what to think, how to act, how to speak. It takes up until the ages of 6 or 7 to program a child. From the innocence they come in with, the awareness, the curiosity, the naivete, that child is morphed, is programmed, molded in the image of man. Ironically, came in the image of God through these vessels of ours. We birth this beautiful soul, this being into life. And because we ourselves have been programmed and taught the rules of the game, or so we've been told, and what we assume to be truth, because assuming, you know what that does. Going through the motions because it's what we've always done, our parents, our grandparents, so we've been told, again, it's all what we've been told. How much of it have we challenged? So some of us, when we were born into this world, we didn't feel we fit in. Constantly feeling like we were fighting against those authoritative figures, those powers that be, the elite, or whatever names you give them. It's that they don't have control over us. It's this perception, this mindset, this belief we've attached to, that we've handed over power to this unknown, unseen force. Just because it's always been that way. Well, you go along to get along. And in that, you suffer. Because it is in the misalignment with our truth, our self, our knowing, that we suffer the most. When we resist our alignment, our soul, our heart, it creates this dis-ease within us. Most of us are unconscious of it. We think the dis-ease in our body is coming from some external source, that somebody or something did this to us, that we did something to deserve it because, we were born of original sin, so we must have done something wrong. Who out there really believes that a loving God would be so vengeful before you ever did anything warranting such harm, such inhumane treatment? All of this is constructed by man, designed for the system to control, to contain, to keep you small so that you don't fight back and stand up in your all, to be in your truth and your knowing. Because that truth is within you, and nobody can tell you what your truth is. Truth is something you have to feel. You sense it, you know it, you can't explain it because you viscerally know it at a soul level. See, we're in this age of technology, this information overload. We've got ways to prove things. Science is still trying to catch up to stuff that's been known and taught throughout the ages for years. Yet, humans are still trying to cling to this trust the science bullshit. That they lost sight of the fact that everything is evolving. And that what has once been proven has been disproven. And things that were disproven have been once again proven. Because the nature is to seek truth, seek answers, to understand. To understand is where we need to be, but we're always seeking outside of ourselves. We need to find some, reason, rationale, explanation, label. We need to be validated, to feel worthy from the outside instead of going within. The truth is in. When you inner stand rather than go under and try to stand under anything but yourself, that's where your heart suffers the most. So we're taking it back here. Taking back our power is recognizing nothing outside of us exists without the power from within. Everything you see outside of yourself is a mirror reflection. And it takes your active participation, thoughts, actions, words, casting spells, vibration, energy, to create. You have to believe and agree on an energetic level and vibration with all of humanity, a collective collaboration, for things to manifest in the physical form. In order for things to matter, to take form, you have to give it your energy and your attention. Otherwise, it would not exist. Because life requires participation. Life is really, truly a living, walking dream. Or is it a waking reality? I don't know. You tell me. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What is your experience? Share with me what it is like for you to live in this life. Do you know what is true for you? Is it reflected in the world around you? See, for me, in my personal experience, when I look around me in my immediate sphere, my circle, my bubble, I'll call it, my life feels pretty blessed. It feels pretty golden. If I am to reach out in social media, it will be a whole different world, wouldn't it? But what I do see is a reflection of where I am at. I see humanity is going through a huge rebirthing. That the whole month of October, if you've been watching and keeping up with my videos on YouTube, is about house cleaning. Not just your house. It's clearing out the garbage of the mind, the old outdated beliefs and thoughts and words and this program that's been going on repeat. Have you been cleaning out that old outdated system, the old outdated programming, the stories, the constructs, the belief systems? We need to do some mental flossing once in a while to clear out the old cobwebs, to reconfront old stories that maybe they're not the same old story. Because when we tell a story from the past, because it's never current unless we're telling about the future, we are reliving that experience every time we tell it. And every time we tell it, we're telling it from the last time we told it, so that story in itself has already changed. It's never the original story. You're recreating it every single time and you don't even realize it. The question is whether or not that story is empowering or disempowering. See, the power of choice is in the story you choose to tell, the spells you choose to cast. Choose your words wisely. Choose your spell casting. Your experience comes from the thoughts that you think, the words that you speak, the actions you take, and the company you keep. If you are hanging out with a bunch of turkeys, what makes you think you're going to be able to soar with the eagles up above? If you truly want to be abundant and rich, hang out with the wealthy. Hang out with the people you want to be like. But if you're hanging out with people who are always speaking in terms of lack mentality, victimhood, it's being done to them, and you're wondering why you can't get ahead, did you ever stop to think it's just like Pigpen from the Peanuts and Schleprock from the Flintstones, the 𝑦𝒐𝒗𝒆, the walking around with the dust cloud around you, attracting that same energy you're carrying. Again, the stories you're telling are attracting your experiences. There are no coincidences. It's all your creation. And it is a collective collaboration. Energy, dancing, energy and movement. It's a dance, a divine comedy. It's a show, and you're creating your part as well as playing your role. You're not just the participant, the actor, the star of your show, but you are the producer and the player, observer, witnesser. You're all of it. And the more you're willing to own your part, to embrace all of your aspects, your good, your bad, everything you've done in this life is a part of who you are today. And when you deny one small little aspect of yourself, you are not whole. You are depleted. You reduce yourself. Reject an aspect of yourself rejects the whole of you. The more you're willing to own every little detail, every little bit, Ooh, I don't like this part of my face. I've got a little bit of a blemish. If you can love that too, the more whole you'll be. The more you'll radiate and shine, blessing humanity, inspiring others to want to be truer to themselves. Because no matter what you think about one little detail in your face and your flaws, whatever you feel your shortcomings are, if you stand in confidence of your wholeness and your truth, nobody will notice that. It's only you that notices these little details. Maybe someone made a comment one time. Maybe you remember something from your childhood of being criticized. That colors our experience, yes. But when you recognize how much power you gave it and allowed it to wield power over you, in the moment that you have the awareness that you gave your power away, you can just as equally take it back and choose to re-empower yourself. And that's the power of choice. It's your superpower. That you can look in the mirror and go, wow, I'm choosing to feel like crap right now. I'm choosing to not be in such high vibrations. And that if you can confront yourself and look yourself in the eye, as soon as you catch your own eye, I assure you, it becomes a laugh. It becomes that divine comedy that you realize you are playing a part and you are participating and engaging with yourself. And that when you own yourself and say it out loud to yourself, you hear your own absurdities. That, wow, oh my gosh, how silly am I? I can say this and it sounds silly, but it's the truth. And I can confront that truth and go, yeah, look at you. You're so freaking hilarious. You're milking it. You're feeling it. How's that feel? Does it feel good? Feel good to feel bad? I feel like shit. Ooh, I feel like shit so good. Like, really get into the part. Get into the role. Play it so damn well that even you're convinced by it. Because the thing is you convince yourself well enough when you're not looking at yourself. And the more you're willing to look at your own stuff, the more you'll see your own absurdity. And then you can start to laugh and see the comedy in it. The divine comedy. All these shows, all these movies, all these books, all these theaters, all these songs, there's clues to life in all of it. But we humans, we are so funny. We make everything so serious. We create something out of nothing. Do you know that everything is essentially neutral? It's us humans that put meaning. We attach emotions. We attach like biases and beliefs. We project our shit right onto something completely benign and neutral. And we blow that crap out of proportion. We're like, that's our magic. That's how we are magicians and master manifestors. Because we turn something, this napkin, it's not doing anything to me. It's just being a napkin. But you know, it's not perfect and it's all crumpled up. And you know, I'm a perfectionist and it's got spots. I got to throw it away. It's no longer useful. Because it's not perfect. I can create a story around this. And I can create suffering because I created a story around this. And you know, I can be the victim of this if I really, really want to be, because I don't want to confront something else. I will use this as a scapegoat. I can use this to not face my own stuff. Wow. How amazing. How powerful. Anybody out there do stuff like this? This may not seem like anything, but we do it all the time. We choose people as our scapegoats for not facing our own shit. We'll project our stuff on them because, you know, in some unconscious way, here's the interesting psychology behind this. When we're unwilling to confront a past wound, we will recreate it in our life. And often that which, it's in my comment, that which we hate the most is what we create in ourselves. We play it out. We play that role. We actually become the thing we hate the most. Haven't you noticed? Oh my God, I became my mother. I'm saying the things that used to irritate me when I was younger. So we might have felt like the victim of our parent or the circumstances. But here we become the perpetrator, perpetrating on others, and we create a cycle. That same cycle of abuse, that same pattern. It's called karma, people. It's an unconscious thing. But when you become conscious of it, wow. In your awareness, you can change your mindset. You can change the way you behave. Because awareness is the key to unlocking the door to changing your life, changing your mindset. That when you know better, you do better. Because when you want to be better, you'll see the best in things as opposed to the worst. You'll see the opportunity to grow and evolve as opposed to something being done to you, finding and seeking problems. No, you'll see solutions because all you see is the yellow brick road leading you to your destination. But if all you can do is find excuses and scapegoats, creating meaning where there's nothing, turning something neutral and benign into something so freaking crazy, that is the power of the mind. It is phenomenal. It is amazing. And that's magic. Casting spells. Creating stories. Using and wielding your words so well. You have convinced yourself that a simple little thing, a noun, a person, place, or thing, has created your suffering when in reality it was you all along. And the story in your head, the beliefs you attach to. Our biggest addiction begins up in here. The constructs, the man-made up stuff. The psychology is much simpler than we make it. That if we haven't healed in confronting our past wounds, that inner child within us will try to get our attention. Your body will manifest dis-ease to the point where you might actually be at a life or death situation because the true minor situation that you could have confronted when it was less benign wasn't getting your attention. It had to get to a point where it was life or death. Or if because you don't confront it within yourself, there's another way. We call in a third party. The inner child will say, well, you're not paying attention to me, so I'm gonna conjure up this energy. I'm gonna just cast this fishing line, and I'm gonna tug in whoever will poke and provoke it out of me. Because that's the funny thing about life. If you're not willing to do the inner work, it will show up on the outside. And what you don't go within, you find without. And it will show up and it'll feel like you are the victim once again. The victim being played out again from the past because the story you keep replaying, conscious or unconscious, verbally or in your thoughts, will show up outside of yourself. And that individual will be the biggest light worker that will show up in your life because they will cast the light, they will illuminate it on your shit, bring it to surface and serve it up and ask, can you see the opportunity here being served up? Can you see the blessing, the lesson, the gift without a bow? Because as humans, we're here to grow. We're not here to stay stuck and stagnant and to ruminate in our misery and our stories, our mental corruptions, trauma that we're addicted to. Whew, you know, in the month where people get dressed up to hide, mask their true identity, their alter egos come out to play. so they can play out their little addictions. The one chance they get to show the side of them nobody knows. But if you are in awareness of yourself, you can sit amongst the chaos and see people's traumas playing out all around you because you know your own. When you have been there, done that, you see it. Because when you spot it, you got it. And when you own it, it doesn't own you. You can recognize it because you claimed it. And what you claim cannot claim ownership over you. When you know the rules of life, you can play it better. And you can wield it in your favor to empower you, not disempower you. Words are powerful. Choose them wisely. When we cast a spell, when we throw our verbal currency, the energetic currents out to sea, what will you be fishing and pulling back in? Because that is creating a reality. That our words are a form of exchange, of money, of currency, of value, and that what you speak, you create and manifest into your life. So whatever you say, be willing to receive back, and consider that the words that you choose will be brought back to you in one way, shape, or form. Because currency, like energy in motion, emotions, energy is meant to stay in motion. See, the reason why people who spend money investing, they see that money needs to be in circulation. The same thing with words and vibration. It's all the same. It's in different forms of matter that materialize and move. And it is an exchange, constantly being spread out, giving and taking, receiving. It's a flow. Currency in motion. Currents like the ocean. See. Can you see? With more than these eyes, you have intuition. You have 5 senses. Taking in information through your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, and your tactile touch. Everything you need is within you. You need nothing outside of you. But we manifested in this world to have relationships, to relay information, to relate to one another. Because again, life is about duality, polarity, this or that. The irony is that is the trap. Because when you get caught up in one or the other, you are now imbalanced. But that's how you navigate the waters. We are 70 to 80% water. You are fluid. You're meant to move and be flexible. Like the air or the water, you should be able to adjust, adapt, to overcome. When you see you're imbalanced, one side or the other, bring it back to center. Homeostasis. Recognize where you are imbalanced. When someone shows up to you, they're only showing up to match your vibration and your energy. So check your stories, check your mindset, check your thoughts, check your mood, because mood reinforces the situation. If you are in a low vibration, you're easier to manipulate, you're easier to target. You are a better target when you're in the lower vibrations than you are when you're high vibe. And even when you are low vibe and acknowledging that, that's the step that it takes to move up the scales toward your higher vibes. Don't lie to yourself. At least recognize and be honest. The more honest you are with yourself, the more honesty will show itself to you. And that means even in the lies. Because when you're no longer lie to yourself, nobody else will be able to lie to you. The only reason we're able to be deceived is because we're deceiving ourselves. When we know our truth, we own our truth, we confront it as opposed to deny it, all of what we see is truth. And that means seeing through the deception and through the lies and manipulation and going, ooh, I see you because I know it in me. That's how people recognize truth. That a lie inside lies outside. It's a matter of whether it's penetrating you because of how you yourself are still holding on to it for dear life. So this is a period of house cleaning, as I said, and I'm going to leave you with this. Hop on over to my Instagram, my last post. Tit for tat. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Tit for tat holds you back. In order to relate, we must better communicate. And that's in knowing yourself. The way to communicate more effectively is to know thyself well. And when you know thyself well, you can articulate better. It takes practice, it takes time and dedication and devotion to doing it. But it becomes like a muscle. You have to strengthen it in order for it to get better and stronger. Courage. You have to exercise your courage muscle. You have to be willing to fail in order to succeed. Nothing comes without stepping outside of your comfort zone. So in order to grow, you have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. And the more you're willing to go through the discomfort, you will find more comfort. Yeah. So, when we are recreating a situation, notice, are you replaying the role of somebody who did something to you? Did you have a parent that scolded you and you didn't like the way they scolded you? And now you're recapitulating. You're carrying that cycle. The narcissist doesn't become the narcissist without having been the target of a narcissist. It's called learned behavior. And when we don't heal that in ourselves, then we become that which was perpetuated on us. We become the victimizer. We become the perpetrator. That is how the cycle evolves and continues and works through us. If we don't heal it, if we don't end it, then we continue to carry it forward. Whatever you're going through, trust me, it's worth it. Everybody who's being stirred, poked and provoked, shaken to the core, feeling like you're breaking down, you have to be broken down to break through, people. You got to break down the old to create the new. Some of us have been through this multiple times in our lives. It isn't a new rodeo for me, for sure. And I can tell you, when you come through the other side, you come through much wiser. It's integration of the old with the new. It's the wisdom of recognizing what wasn't working when you were imbalanced in the past, that you learn from your mistakes. You don't commiserate. You don't beat yourself up over them. You recognize it's time to course correct. That in order to evolve and grow, we have to acknowledge how far we've come. We are not victims. We are victors. We write the scripts and we play the roles. We can create whatever story it is we desire. It's all a choice. And it's all up to you and it's up to me. So I hope this video is helpful and insightful. I feel these times are really challenging and people feel under attack, when in reality it's an internal healing from the inside out. And just like the butterfly, the caterpillar has to turn to goo to transmute and manifest into, to metamorphosize and try on its new size. Meta, in between, morph, transform, size, shape. When you break words down, you find more meaning in them than you realize. Again, these are words casting spells. And it's really powerful when you start to do the research into etymology and the real meaning in words. Words are really fascinating, so choose them well. Pay attention to the casting of your spell. I like to rhyme. Something my mom passed on. Words, books. We're all basically in the goo stage right now. And if you look around, just have compassion, because a lot of people are in self-sabotage. Because when you're holding on for dear life to that which you've only known, which is the addiction to the past, the discomfort, the toxic behaviors, the toxic lifestyles, everything from food to alcohol to drugs to attending concerts or bars or scenes or hanging with certain crowds of people. Pay attention. Some of this needs to break down for you to go to the next level, because this is a leveling up stage if you hadn't noticed. Hold on as much as you can or if you want, but that's creating your suffering. Eventually you're going to come out going, my gosh, why did I hold on for so long? Why was I holding on like it was my last breath, life or death, for instant gratification and self-satisfaction that was temporary? That's addiction. It's addiction. And right now you're seeing addictions, addictive behaviors, really, really strongly in the collective. And when you see that, just understand that's the struggle. It's an internal struggle. The letting go of what no longer serves, of the death process, because this is a rebirthing. You gotta do the house cleaning. In order to make way for the new, you gotta get rid of the cobwebs. You've gotta clear out the old. And a rebirth is messy. And the reason why people are clinging and the addictions are flinging is because of the death. And that people don't even realize these major life changes that are, rumbling through, means you have to go through this mourning period. It means you have to go, I don't like the way I feel. And comfort in yourself, compassion with yourself. Acknowledging that, whoa, I'm going through some serious shit right now. And it feels like crap. Go look in the mirror. Look at yourself and go, dude, you are really wanting to feel some cruddy stuff because I don't like it. Can we change this soon? When you start confronting you, this is my own little, I made this up. I decided to do this. And you know why? Because I saw the divine comedy in it. And because I know my own humor, and I know my own self, I've got humility. Hey, I'm a Leo. I can yell, I can scream, and I can become a pussycat when I realize, I gotta eat my own humble pie. Yeah, the shit is a-flying, and we are a bunch of monkeys flinging at each other, aren't we? That's what people do. They fling their own shit at one another, not realizing that it comes right back at them. So just take that into consideration. If you're sitting in some shit, lap it up, enjoy it. You know why? Because you created it. So when you go look in the mirror and you go, you created this shit. Good for you. The more you're willing to empower yourself with recognizing you created this craziness, the quicker it transforms, it transmutes. It's amazing how powerful we are as magicians in this game of life, that we have casted our own shit on ourselves. This is our story, and this is the way we're dealing with it. We don't like it, So we're playing a victim of ourselves. Nobody's doing it to us. If we're allowing someone to behave a certain way towards us, it's because we chose to allow it. Look in the mirror and own that. That's some crazy stuff. Like, wow, I'm allowing this person to really make me feel cruddy. Like I'm giving my power to this person. I'm watching my filter change my chin. It's kind of neat. There's nothing wrong with any of it. Sometimes you just want to have the experience of feeling like shit. That's actually possible. Consider that. Consider that you felt so many opportunities of good stuff that maybe your spirit, your soul just said, I just want to feel like shit for once. Oh, I don't like that so much. Okay. Course correction time. When you're feeling like this, you can move over to that. When you're imbalanced, which is what the shit is an imbalance in your experience. It's an opportunity to navigate you. All that's doing is telling you you're out of balance. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to course correct? How are you going to course correct? Are you going to recognize it's in a mindset more than anything? It's not actually the experience itself. It's your mindset about the experience. That, again, the napkin is benign. The napkin's not doing anything to me. I've just created a story all around it. This is neutral. And I've created the not neutral, the positive or the negative. You know, this is just basic science. This is energy. This is vibration, law of attraction, magnetism. It's all of it. And then when you start to see all these synchronicities, then you go, wow, I'm really good. Like at some point I chose I was going to have this shitty experience. And then at the same time, I also chose I was going to have an awareness around that I chose it. And that's empowering. And then I looked in the mirror, and when I looked at myself, I said, you chose to do this. You realize this. We could change this at any time. And you start laughing at yourself, and it becomes this, literally, that's why I call it divine comedy. As you just start laughing, going, oh my gosh, girlfriend, you are just freaking hilarious. Do you see how powerful you are? Do you recognize that? When you start looking at yourself in the mirror and having this dialogue, all games out the window, and your life starts transforming. And you can use this tool. People reach out to me all the time and they want advice from me. I've got all these videos. Nobody really wants to pay for anything. But I got all sorts of tools and I got all sorts of ideas, but you know, it's up to you, but you can choose your suffering too. I'm not here to make anybody do anything they don't want to do. And I'm currently looking at possibly creating my own outside of this platform kind of situation, because I just feel like I'm evolving myself and navigating some new waters. So we'll see what unfolds. But in the meantime, make sure you're following me on all these social media platforms. If you're on Instagram, make sure to click the little bell to see notifications, because I changed and updated that, which is nice. If you're following me here on Facebook, make sure you're following me and you're getting notifications as well. Same thing on my YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Follow my Poshmark. You want to buy some of my clothes? I'm trying to sell off a bunch of stuff. I'm clearing out my house. I'm doing some serious house cleaning. I'm here for you in whatever way I can be, when I can be. I believe in you. And no matter what you're going through, just remind yourself, you're choosing it and you're more powerful than you realize. So on this Friday evening, if you choose to participate in these festivities, these rituals that are playing out around us, one last thing before I leave. Holidays are not holy days. Remember Hollywood? Hollywood. Holly comes from the holly tree. That's what they made the wands from, to cast the spells. There's a reason, if you start doing the research, if you start looking into things, we have been programmed to cast the spells that were cast upon us, to perpetuate and maintain them, using the words we were taught. If we don't learn to retrain our brains, change our mindsets and our thoughts and our lives, then we will continually be enslaved to a system that has been designed to keep us enslaved. The only way we take back our power is to do the inner work. Holy days, holidays, are not the holidays that are on the calendar. In fact, most of that is ritual. And that whenever we give the attention to what we think it is, somewhere behind the scenes, some ritual is being played out to reinforce and keep you engaged and entertained, participating in your own spell casting. Keep that in mind. Remember that when it comes to these holidays, because I've chosen to opt out from this point forward. That if you think the holidays are holy days, you got another one coming for you. And if you're continuing to participate because, well, it's the way our family always did it, I suggest you start creating new stuff. Because Thanksgiving was a bunch of Indians' heads on the platter on the table, was a massacre. Christmas, from my understanding, is actually Satan's birthday, so, go for that one. There's a lot of lies in the truths and truths in the lies. Stop playing into your own enslavement. That's one last little tip for this evening. And on that note, benign, neutral. It's all up in here in your mind. You create your life. Now empower yourself with better words and stories. I love you. Sweet dreams. Good night. God bless.